Texas State walks it off in a late night thriller against Louisiana. We'll recap it right here on Ragin' Rundown. What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into another episode of Ragin' Rundown, the show where you will know all things UL sports. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick, but you know you can always call me Fitz. And on today's early morning, late night episode, as I'm recording this at 12:51 after the game, we will be talking about Louisiana baseball falling to Texas State, their first loss here in the Sun Belt Conference tournament in a walk-off fashion. We'll discuss where things went wrong in this one, which you can imagine it was there near the ending. And then we'll look ahead, which is another matchup against Coastal Carolina, the fifth one in a 2-week span through the losers bracket. So now you're in the elimination game and what the Cajuns ultimately would need to do to be able to win that ball game. So as we always do, we'll go through game flow. As expected, Ty Roman got the start in this one, and he pitched an absolute gem. Hat tip to him, and you almost felt like that type of effort, the way that he played early on, it kind of feels like a waste when you lose a game like this in the fashion that you did. Like a loss like this doesn't make or break your season by any stretch of the imagination, but it just stings because it's like, man, we were so close to the finish line. So Ty Roman comes out. He goes 6 1/3, which I believe was a season high for him, which by just one out. So 6 1/3 innings, just one hit allowed, no earned runs, one walk, and 8 punch outs. Struck out 8 of the 23 batters he faced on 102 total pitches. So a phenomenal effort by the transfer from San Jacinto, if I'm not mistaken, was where he came from. I got it right here in front of me, so I can get it correctly. Yes, San Jacinto. Kudos to him on the way that he started. From there, when we look at inning by inning, Louisiana had a lot of opportunities to be able to try to give themselves more and more run support, and they ultimately just weren't able to get it done. So you get there in the first, Blaze Rodriguez would be walked. Maddox Mendino lays down a sacrifice bunt that advances Rodriguez to second. Liamade goes down swinging. Cole Brown flies out to center. So you leave a runner on base. You get there to the second inning. Drew Markle goes down swinging. Mark Collins grounds out. Donovan LaSalle strikes out. You go to the third inning. Owen Galt is walked. Steven Spalita struck out. Owen Galt steals the second. Blaze Rodriguez reaches on a fielding error. So you have runners on the corners. Maddox Mendino, again, he's continued to be doing the job what he needs to do. He lays down a sac bunt once again. He drives in, allows that run to come home by Owen Galt. Leah Amade comes in and then he grounds out, so you leave your second runner on base. In the fourth inning, Cole Brown goes down swinging. Marco goes down swinging. Mark Collins singles up the middle, and then he advances to second on a wild throw. And then Donovan LaSalle goes down swinging, so you leave your third base runner on base. You get to the fifth inning, and that's where the bulk of your runners left on base happens. You would actually end up with 8 on the night, which is what I think really came back to bite you in the end. And I was live tweeting the game, live posting the game. And when this happened, when the bases were left loaded, I said to someone on social, like, you can only hope that something like that doesn't come back to bite you. And obviously, hindsight being 2020, if you get in an extra run or two, maybe you win this one 5-4, or you go and play in the 10th inning, and maybe you're still playing right now as I'm recording this episode, right? Fifth inning, strikeout, ground out. Blaze Rodriguez gets walked. He advanced to second on a pass ball. Maddox Mendino gets a single, so now you have a runner on first and third. Mendino steals to second, so now you have 2 runners in scoring position. Liamade gets hit by a pitch. So you have your bases loaded, and at that moment you have 2 outs up against you. Colt Brown is up to bat, and he goes down on a fielder's choice hit up the middle that nearly got over the infielder's glove, but he wasn't able to do it. You leave the bases loaded, and that really, really hurts there. You are obviously up 1-0 in this instance, but you would have loved to be able to give yourself more run support to give you more of cushion as you're going down the stretch. Sixth inning, ground out, fly out, single by Donovan LaSalle, strikeout by Owen Galt. So you leave a runner on base. Seventh inning, you once again strikeout. Blaze Rodriguez is walked. He's caught stealing at second. Maddox Mandino strikes out. And you go out of the inning. You go to the eighth inning. You get some insurance runs from in the eighth and the ninth. Lee Amade goes 394 feet, his fifth home run of the season on a solo shot. After that, Cole Brown flies out. Drew Marco flies out. Mark Collins flies out. And then in the ninth inning, that's where things got tricky. And we're going to discuss it after we take this quick break and when we come back here on Ragin' Rundown. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Ragin' Rundown. We're going to get back into the action in just a second. But before we do, please do me a favor. If you're watching it, please like this video, share it, and leave a comment down below. But most importantly, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're listening, follow the podcast feed, rate the show, and leave us a review because that's going to help us get in front of more Ragin' Cajun fans just like yourself. So we enter the ninth inning, and in the top of the ninth, Louisiana was able to get a runner on. Owen Galt singled after Donovan LaSalle reached on a fielding error, right? So I believe he blooped it out to center, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, out to center field. The center fielder couldn't glove it, so he gets on there on first. Owen Galt singles, so now you have a runner on first and second. They have a mound visit. Steven Spalita lines out, and then Donovan LaSalle advances to third, so you have runners on the corners. Blaze Rodriguez grounds out. Donovan LaSalle is able to score, so you're up 3-0. Owen Galt advances to second. Maddox Mandino goes down swinging, and you are struck out looking. So there's 3 errors that happen total for Texas State. So now you're up 3-0, and you're feeling pretty good as you're going into the bottom half of this inning. And again, that's where things really got shaky for you. If I can pull it up really quickly, as I was watching this game, and I almost tweeted it, I almost wanted to say that this game felt eerily similar to when the Cajuns played the Bobcats in the regular season in their Friday night game. Because if you remember, as I have it pulled up here, Louisiana was leading 8-0 in the top of the eighth inning. And I'm going to pull up the play-by-play. So you were up 8-0. You get to the bottom of the eighth, and you have ground out, fly out. So you have 2 outs. You're up 1-0. And then after that, you would just need to get through the ninth. They single, hit by pitch. So you have a runner on first and second. You walk him. So now the bases are loaded. You make a pitching change. And then you have a grand slam that happens, and they go up 4-1. So a handful of events happen, and you end up losing a game that you had control of throughout a majority of it. So we'll go to the box score and the play-by-play here in tonight's game. Single by Texas State. UL has a mound visit. They get a double to left center. So now you have a runner on first and third, or he advances from first to third. So you have a runner on third and second, excuse me. So you have 2 on. At this point, Ty Roman had went 6 and a third. Hayden Pearson came in. He goes 1 2/3. He gives up 4 hits, and I believe he did have 1 strikeout in his outing. Let me go ahead and look back at that so I can give him his credit. He had 2 strikeouts. So at that point, you decide to try to bring someone in to try to slam the door shut, right? So Hayden Pearson is inserted into the game. And after that, you get a strikeout, and then the bases are loaded after a walk. Bases are loaded once again, and I'm looking at this and I'm saying this feels exactly like the way the Friday night game was going. And in my head, I'm thinking, it feels like they're about to walk this off. I didn't know if it was going to be in one swing or if they were going to do it in batches. They did it in batches. So after that happens, So you get a strikeout, a walk, and then another batter strikes out. So now you have 2 outs. You need one more out to get out of this. You're up 3-0. After that, they get a single. The runner scores. So now the bases are loaded once again. It was a hot shot, I think, to Owen Galt, if I'm not mistaken. A hot shot to Owen Galt. He tries to field it. It came to him so fast that he landed on his back. He tries to throw it to second. He's not able to get it in time. They challenge it. The runner is still safe at second. And so now the bases remain loaded. So it's 1-0. And then after that, you walk a batter. And now I said 1-0. Now it's 3-1. Excuse me. I'm thinking about the last game. It was 3-1. After that, you walk a batter in. It's 3-2. You make a pitching change. You put in Parker Smith. After that, Rashawn Galloway hits a 2-run single. They walk it off and they win the game. As you can tell, there's not a whole lot more that you could have done in terms of what pitchers you might have chose in any instance of this, because all of them gave up hits in instances. Hayden Pearson gave up 4 hits. Parker Smith obviously gave up the go-ahead hit that allowed the runs to come in to walk it off. And Sawyer Pruitt walked a runner in to make it 3-2. But he did get 2 strikeouts for you. So from that perspective, I can't necessarily just say that, man, this is all on these young pitchers, because again, like, these are moments that are going to make them better, and it's not going to break them. It has been a rough patch for Sawyer Pruitt, particularly. Hayden Pearson has been coming alive here on the back half of the season, and generally, he's not going to go more than 2 innings. I think the season high that he may have had is maybe 3 or 4 innings. So he's not going to go a long time. So you wanted him to come in, slamming the door shut. He wasn't able to do it. You go in another direction. The next guy can't do it. You go in another direction. And the next guy is not able to get it done. I would say that the lack of early run support is what allowed for Texas State to hang around in this game. And we talked about it in the last episode. If you missed it, you can go check it out. If you watched it, thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of the Ragin' Rundown community. But if you don't have the early run support, it forces your pitcher to say, I have to absolutely pitch perfectly. And obviously that's what their job is to do, right? Fill the strike zone, throw strikes, get outs. That is their job. But it makes you play a little bit differently when you know, all right, man, yeah, we're up 3-0. But if we're up 5-0, hey, I got a little wiggle room to deal with. I can relax a little bit more. Tensions are not as high. But man, when the bases are loaded and it's 3-0, and you know that one pitch could change this entire game, that's a little bit different type of pressure, right? Now, moments like this is going to help these young freshmen. It truly is. It's going to make them better. Being in that moment where the bases are loaded and you walk a run in, that's going to make Sawyer Pruitt better. So it's almost better to be getting some of these lumps early in their career, because when an instance like that will happen later down the line, whether that's this season or later in his career, he'll be better and ready for it. So I think the lack of run support early is what made it more difficult and what made the 9th inning so inflated, to where you've given up another lead late in the game, where you were in a position, you were playing well, and you had a collapse. That was what I felt like. If they didn't get great run support, then it would be an opportunity for Texas State to slide in, hang around, and be able to say, all right, if we can make 1 or 2 great swings, we can win this game. And that's exactly what happened. So Louisiana suffers their first loss in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. That will drop them to 36-22 on the year, and it improves Texas State to 36-22 on the year as well. As I look at the current RPI rankings on WarrenNolan.com, the live rankings says that Texas State has the 37th best RPI. They jump 7 spots. The Cajuns are 38th, so I guess they had fallen a little bit earlier in the day at one point. And it says that they're up 2 spots. I guess that because Texas State has the win-loss record that they have and the strength of schedule and all those things like that is what could potentially have them at that position, or why it could be considered a plus for them. So projections had you as a regional team, and they had Texas State also in, but as a last four team in projections. I think D1 Baseball has you in the Auburn Regional, and then I think Baseball America has you in the Gainesville Regional. So, like I said before, I think you have done enough to potentially get yourself into a regional. I'm just more of the thought that, man, if I'm going to win it, let's win it all. Let's keep winning it. And you're not going to win every single game, but this one definitely stings just a bit because you almost had it and you just let the rope go right there at the end. So Cajuns fall 4-3, and after a long day, they will have to bus back to their hotel, and they'll get some rest, and then they'll have to turn right back around and get back up, head to the ballpark for a 3 o'clock game against Coastal Carolina, who they will be playing for the fifth time in 2 weeks. You had a 3-game series, and now this will be the second time that you're playing them here in the conference tournament. Coach Deggs had actually alluded to potentially having to play them again in his post-game press conference after they beat them on, today is Thursday going into Friday, so that would have been Wednesday. So he knew that it was either going to be you're going to have to play them in the losers bracket because they battled their way back, or you're going to play them in the winners game in the semifinal on Saturday. So the path is still there for you to win the conference tournament. I'm not sure how the staff will attack this. Will they say, hey, we feel like we've done enough, so now we're just going to kind of go with a bullpen day? Or do they actually go and say we want to win the tournament and they throw out a great arm? I'm not sure what they're going to do right now at this point, because you're going to have to play on Friday, which is what you didn't want. You wanted to have that extra day of rest. So you're going to have to play Friday. You'll play at 3 o'clock against Coastal. If you win that game, now you got to beat Texas State twice. That's a lot, right? So you'd have to get up early in the morning. You'd have to play them at 9 a.m. You'd probably bus back, shower, and come back to the ballpark to play them again at 4. And then if you win that, you have to turn around the next day and play the championship game at 1 p.m. Listen, man, I'm not saying that it's impossible. And if they want to win it, if they want to keep playing, great. But that is a lot to try to figure out to do. And maybe you're low on arms and the number of innings pitched that you've used, guys. I think Parker Smith has been thrown in every single game in this tournament that you've been in so far. So it's like now you're not just trying to figure out who you're going to start, but it's like what relief guys can you bring in, or how can you make it work, especially where you're going to be playing that caliber of team like a Coastal Carolina. I don't know what the answer might be, but you're going to have to get early run support to start off. You're going to have to continue to throw and have great pitching. That's going to have to be your recipe for success. Again, you're not going to score 10 plus runs every single game. You're not going to get 10 plus hits every single game. This loss is a prime example of that, because you only end up getting 5 hits on the day and you score 3 runs, but you left 8 base runners on. So you got to drive those guys in. You got to bring them in. And in the moments when you need to throw strikes, you have to throw strikes. So we'll see. We'll keep our eyes on that, and we'll be talking about it right here on Ragin' Rundown. That's going to wrap up this episode. If you've made it to this point in the video, thank you so much. Please do me a favor. Please like it, share it, leave a comment down below, but most importantly, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let me know down in the comments, do you think Louisiana has absolutely done all they can to be able to get a regional bid, or do they need to keep winning to build that resume up a little bit more? If you're listening, please follow the podcast feed, rate the show, and leave us a review, because that's going to help us get in front of more Ragin' Cajun fans just like yourself. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. We'll see you guys next time.